the Americas at Austin, Texas, the U.S. Grand Prix at Dakota for episode number 25 of our Moto GP 26 career mode. And if you did miss the previous one, it was the Brazilian Grand Prix, episode number 24. Be sure to check it out in my live streaming on youtube.com/speeddepo303. And then subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red bell to your right. If you also missed the NASCAR 26 part 2 of our game preview, be sure to check that out on youtube.com/speeddepo303. And then also you can go to twitch.tv/speeddepo303 and follow us on my channel for live streaming others if you want to follow us there. And if you want to check my AI videos, you can go to TikTok at speeddepo303, Savon Morel at Instagram, and then also BDNR at speeddepo3. Well, it's second season here in the Moto GP. Let's hope we can have a better outing here at my home race at the Circuit of the Americas for episode number 25. It's going to be twisty, and hopefully we can do it just like we did at Portimao with the Gacini bike. But can we do the same thing here with our Rossi racing bike? It's slipping away a little bit here at the Circuit of the Americas, but hopefully we can do a good job and then try to survive these twisty corners and up and down here at the Circuit of the Americas. There's not much hills over here, but we want to give the U.S. fans a great performance to regret it. And we did make it into the top of the board, and our projected time should be about 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And Diego Beretta had a good time as well too. Luque Marini and Alex Marquez made it into the second qualifying session. Franco Morbidelli almost came close but fell short. So what is going on with the Aprilia Racing? Back in like 9, Jorge Martin are dropping backwards, and they're doing very well. They're like going backwards into the field. But how about the Honda Castrol Hondas? They're doing well, and then also the two Ducatis are doing well as well. And then second year sensation, Cota USA GP, does a very good job in the Prima Yamaha. Let's get ready to go for episode number 25. This is the Moto GP 26 career mode. That's Dakota.
The rider makes his way confidently to the bike, about to take to the track.
got to be a little bit more quicker. It improves a little bit, but we have to get back out.
The rider is returning to his pit, where he will study the next move with his team.
It's a 2 minute and 5, but we need a 2 minute and 4. It's slowing down a little bit too much in the corners. I'm just trying to keep it limited so that way I don't fall. We need a 2 minute and 4.755, but we're just well off the pace. It's just these slicky tires that are not doing very well. We used to have too much of the soft tires and everything, but I need to do something to try to manage them. Try to put a medium set there. Let's see if it will improve it.
The mechanics take the bike out of the pit and the rider is ready to get on the bike.
These are not the ideal tires for this track like this. We may have to go with both mediums if we need to. The other Loretta has a 2 minute 4.755. we have
The
55
rider is
seconds to
returning
go,
to
but
his
I don't
pit,
think, we're
where
gonna
he
have
will
enough
study the
time to
next
get the
move
pole.
with his team.
We just really struggled in qualifying. Just didn't get the pace that we needed. It was a bit better, but it wasn't good. We should have got out.
Let's take a look at the final ranking of the second Moto GP qualifying session.
Man, we just struggled.
That's the end of our transmission.
Just
We look
didn't get
forward
the
to
pace
seeing
that we
you for
needed
the
to get
race.
2 minutes and 4. Look at this. Alondura, Mark Marquez is in third. This is a surprise. So this is Diego Moretta's first ever pole position in his second season in Moto GP for the Superfile Brilliant Racing Trackhouse. And that's the first time Brilliant in a while has gotten the pole position. Alondura in second. But we were about 5 car lengths off the pace. But we need to get more pace out of this bike. I don't think the Rossi bikes are very well here at Ducati, but we just need to pace it up just a little bit more. Man, that's not a good way to qualify here in my
Good
home
morning
race.
from Austin. We're just a few minutes away from the start of the warm-up. Yesterday we saw some riders struggling. This could be their last chance to make a winning change to the bike
Yeah, we
setup.
just
There are big
struggled.
clouds over the circuit, but the weather forecast rules out the possibility of rain. However, the riders will have to deal with a lower than expected asphalt temperature.
They need to upscale it. Every time you turn on this bike, it'll shake and fall.
The team has just finished preparing the bike and the rider is ready to take to the track. We're moving on to the pit entrance where the rider seems to have something to discuss with his engineer.
Top 5. Because it's a little bit tricky and difficult to race here at the Cota on a bike. You can do it easily on a Formula 1 car, but on a bike on a bike over here it's theoretically impossible. And we can't wait until what NASCAR's
Here is the final ranking for this warm-up round. As the last riders return to the pits, we say goodbye and see you in a few hours for the highlight of the weekend, the race.
Alright, what a good job we have done here. With 2 minutes and 5 seconds in the warm-up. Gonzalez for second, and Costa, Binder, and Mark Marquez round up the top 5. Let's see if we can try to, U.S. fans, try to rejuvenate and try to get back up front here at the Cota at the U.S. Grand Prix. See if we can give some wings out of the Rossi bike and come back to it and see if we can have a very good race. So let's get ready for the U.S. fans and for my home fans. Let's get ready to see if we can get this Rossi bike up on top and still try to keep our undefeated streak alive. Let's get ready for the Cota.
Greetings to all our friends back home from the States. We're live from Austin, one of the tracks with the highest elevation gain in the entire championship. Just a few more moments and the images will take us to the starting straight for the Moto GP class race.
Alright, the set fans are set and ready to go for some excellent racing here at the Circuit of the Americas. And we try to do well here at the Cota. It's hazy. It's clear out. See if we can try to make this a very good one. And the track
We're on the starting grid where the lights will soon go out to start the race.
Pumped up and ready to go.
The sky is overcast and temperatures are particularly low, so many teams have fitted soft tyres to both the front and rear to allow riders to bring them up to temperature more easily.
And now I'm doing what a great start for Honda LCR. It looks like this Honda LCR is going to get ready. Onto the Setti and P7 in Ducati. We're starting right next to him in that third row. Well, it looks pretty good on the Ducati bike. Now, but let's take a look at the starting grid to see how everybody's going to go. Everybody's going to go with soft tires. And only one rider, Brad Binder, is going to go with the medium and soft. But I think ideal that we go with the soft tires. And I'm glad we saved those so that way we can make it all the way to the finish. Well, a little bit of a terrible qualifying, but in P8. But let's see if we can make it up and try to get into the front. But this is not going to be perfect, but let's hope we can keep our fingers crossed and then try not to make contact with other bikers and riders. But let's get ready to go for episode number 25 at the Cota. It is the US Grand Prix.
The race officials give the okay. Riders have their eyes fixed firmly on the lights. Just a few more seconds and the Grand Prix of the Americas will begin.
battle here at the U.S. Grand Prix. But I'm getting very concerned about these four riders over here. They're just mingling at each other right now. Chaotic. Somebody's going to fall. I hope we don't fall as well, too. See what I mean? Well, we wanted to avoid the danger, and we did. Right up in the air. Yeah, coming right to you, Alvera. And this is getting very aggressive here in Cota. Something like that. Man, you get these up like they're still in the air like that. How long will it be up in the weather? It's absurd. The Japanese rider's doing a great job. Diego Moreto's also doing a good job. Oh, a little bit of contact there. I didn't like that. I didn't like the way that the Aladuro was doing. What a nice move that was. Nice, good heavy braking coming out of that turn. These bikes wobble sometimes when it does that, under heavy braking. Yeah, we're going at it. Myself and Alan Burr are going at it. I'm going to lead. Got to get off my feeler. Lord, I was going to be falling, and probably mine too. cars over Diego Moreno. Lucky that we didn't fall down there. Lucky that we did not get a penalty going through the first corner there. Seconds over Diego. That was the first time we had made a good turn there. And then second by Naya, 18-7 in Aprilia. Marini is second in the point standings, falling out. And it's all about survival here at Dakota. Marini still keeps on going. So 3.5 seconds. Diego Moreno is having the best race of his life, but he needs to survive the final 8 laps at Dakota. And Dakota's really eating up a bunch of riders. They are all going down. It's not that hot out here because it's way cooler, but now that the sun's come out, that's going to heat up and burst a little bit more. Back into the Q2. I've been having a little bit of a hot trouble on that first cylinder. Moving out there slowly. Just going to take it a little easy now that we have a little bit of a sizable lead. Let's just keep it on at a steady pace over the Al Aldura. softer on the curves there to keep it in the way. Tried to survive and not to fall out here. Got a done it. What a great job. We have done it in the U.S. Grand Prix at Cota, and we make it 3 in a row for the Rossi.
Let's take a look at the final ranking of the Moto GP race before the traditional podium ceremony.
And the 3 races in a row, I didn't have to even use the rewind. But I don't know why it did that. Remember, I had only one fallout at the... I only had one fallout at the Brazilian Grand Prix. I did have a fallout at the season opener of the Pagan at the circle when I hit that final corner too much. But this was absolutely a wonderful job here at the... wonderful, much better job at the U.S. Grand Prix at the Cota. At my home race, we win it 3 in a row and we keep our win streak alive at 25-0. In our 3rd race in a row for the Rossi Racing Team, we beat out Diego Beretta by about 4.4 seconds. And Al Alguera was in 3rd place. He will get a podium. Dean Aldeguera was in 4th, and Pecco Bagnaia. What a comeback by the Abreu Racing Team in 5th. And then that sensational rookie, Manuel Gonzalez, gets 6th place with his teammate, Copa Glassically. That was a terrific race for the Premac Yamahas. Pedro Acosta 8, and a good recovery for Luque Marini in 9th, and Fabio Quartararo runs up the top 10. Timo Morbidelli rebounds a little bit, he gets a P11. Well, look at all the riders that were out of the race. Man, there were 7 riders out of the race. Vicente and Rins didn't even get a start from this race. Fernando Ciacino was down, and then Tassimini, and then Brad Binder, and then Johan Zarco. And this was very, very risky. So that half a field didn't get out of the race. But this was the first race of our new patch came to the third season, the new trackhouse racing, now we call it the Super Mile trackhouse racing. This is one of the newest liveries from the Moto GP. Varsity Royal Racing has a new bike as well. They changed their bike. You see them as well. There's lots of energy on board. That's a new bike for the Royal Racing, and it was well worth it for the first race of the new livery ride. This was a sweet ride. It was a very rough ride here in Cota. They were getting too wide and too much in the corners there. The first one, the most, didn't know what to do with it. But everywhere else, we did splendidly well without falling. For the fourth time in my career, my home race at the Cota, we did it perfectly. And let's see what will happen in Formula 1 tomorrow with the four-wheel. And the race there at US Grand Prix normally. We've only won the World Championship, and we missed that one yesterday. Check it out at youtube.com/speed303. This was certainly an awesome race here, my home race at the Cota, and I did a home sweet home, perfect riding victory at the Cota. Look how smooth this Rossi bike car was. We started back, made, and then made it all the way up there. Had a good fight. And there, but we survived, trying to hold on to the bike without falling out. And then we did it out there superbly here at the Cota. Now we had a few off-road moments over there, almost, but we still hung on. Tremendous bike ride. Off the job. I'm very happy with the performance at Cota. Way better than it was last year. Great comeback from Felipe Marini. Now they're finishing on the top line, the top line, back 97. Rossi really did a good job in that Q8. Morbidelli did well. Yeah, I'd like to take a quick thumbnail shot of the power of the Cota coming into the downhill. I think that'll be good right there. That'll be our thumbnail. Great victorious victory, and what a great rider of the day was ours for Diego Moreta and Al Alguera. They finished second and third place. But it's going to change the complexity of the point standings after we won here and survive at Cota, at my home race. So now we have a 37 point advantage over Diego Moreta. If we won 3 in a row and keep our streak at 25-0 and 3 in a row for the DR 46 racing team. Diego Moreta is in second, Marchetti drops into third place. Acosta fourth, and Luque Marini rounds up the top 5. And the Colina and our 46 racing team are on a roll and a great start over the Ducati Lenovo team with 38. Castrol Honda is in third with 40, and then Brilliant Racing goes up into fourth, and Superpower Trackhouse rounds up the top 5. And 75 points in the Constructors Championship, 35 over Honda, and Aprilia moving way back up into third place with 38. Let's go ahead and celebrate, for most importantly, a wonderful, perfect race at Cota here at the U.S. Grand Prix at my home. We made it a perfect, sweet home race with an obviously wonderful performance.
The cameras are taking us into Parc Fermé to the race winner, who is rightly celebrating with his mechanics.
Man,
if he continues like this, it will be difficult for his rivals to catch up with him.
4 riders are there. I'm getting so concerned to stay on the top of the bike and found some holes there, and then what a good payout this is for winning here at my home. Yes, it showed up my house, and it came my house in a huge way.
Here we are live for the closing ceremony of the Grand Prix. The 3 riders on the podium right now gave us a great race. Now they can enjoy the adulation of the crowd.
Anyway, good podium for Al Alguera and the Austrian Honda, and then the new sponsor for the Brilliant Racing Trackhouse, Super File on board. That was wonderful. And it looks like all the home fans are here in my home race. They are cheering loudly. Still moving our way up to get into the Legends, so that way we can get a ride with the Brilliant for next season, or maybe the Ducati Lenovo team. So we'll see what we can choose. Now we're going to have a debriefing discussion about what the setup will be for our first testing when we go to the Spanish Grand Prix at Jerez. So let's see what we need to improve on. I think we need to improve on the sliding a little bit. I think there's still more room for improvement. I think we need more aerodynamics on the bike and also engine power. We get the aerodynamics those developed, and also the engine. Work on aerodynamic load, and then also try to put more development on the engine so it can run a little bit more power. And then when we go to the Spanish Grand Prix in the first testing, the next race is going to be episode number 26 at Qatar. Well, let's first go to our rider customization so we can get the helmet, the purple helmet for the next one when we go to Qatar. And then let's take a look at the standings for the Moto 2 and Moto 3. We didn't do that in the previous race, but we're going to do it now. Let's go to Moto 2, and Daniel Holgado is leading now 31 points. I think he's doing it perfectly. He's already won 3 in a row with the VDS racing team. And on a roll so far, with Adrian Fernandez second, Daniel Munoz in third, David Alonso fourth, and Ciel Vietti rounds up the top 5. So Holgado has won 3 in a row on the Moto 2 bike. This is obviously a very remarkable start. And they are having a very remarkable start. The VDS racing team coming out big for the first 3 races, over 14 points over CF Moto Asphalt team, Red Princess Racing 4, Red Bull KTM HO 4, and Premax Yamaha Moto 2 in the top 5. Now in the Moto 3, Alfo Carpi has also been 3-0 so far. He has won 3 races in a row with the Code Motorsports, with Marco Morelli second, 23 points behind, and Valentin Perron the fourth. David Almanza, Perron is in third, Almanza fourth, and David Munoz rounds out the top 5. And then the teams, Code Motorsports, off to a remarkable start in the first 3 races. And Red Bull KTM Tech 3 now getting their rhythm back this season in second place. Asphalt team is in third with 52. The Red Bull KTM HO is in fourth, Leopard Racing into the top 5. So it was an amazing job at the Kona, my home race, doing it perfectly over there. It was a wonderful, great race that we pulled away. We only had 1 fallout at the Shanghai International Circuit in Thailand, and then again in Brazil, but no fallouts here. Most importantly, at my home race at the US Grand Prix, we're 3 in a row, and we have won 25-0, and still continuing to keep the streak alive. But will it continue in the next race when we go to Qatar at Losail International Circuit for the Qatar Grand Prix at Doha? The one and only night race into the calendar. So that will do it for our Moto GP 26 coverage, and we will have Formula 1 action tomorrow at the same track at the Kona in 4 wheels, now that we completed a perfect race well on 2 wheels. Thanks everyone so much for watching on the Speed Taper 303 channel. It was a wonderful race. I enjoyed it well. That was a good, perfect 19 lap, and great for the home fans. They enjoyed every minute of it, and they'll have a Texas beer party tonight as the VR46 is on the roll so far. But can we make it 4 in a row? We'll see. The Formula 1 action tomorrow as Sete Marti, the new champion, now can sit and breathe and enjoy the final 5-6 races of our Formula 1 schedule. Then the season before he and Victor Martin lose their ride and then they'll be transitioning forward to George Russell and Carlos Sainz. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you then into the next one.